It's the Ross Tucker Football Podcast.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Monster Monday presented by DraftKings that we are recording at 12:04 a.m. Eastern Time. TJ Watt just stripped Geno Smith of the ball. Boswell made the kick. The Steelers are 3-3. The Seahawks are 2-4. And you are getting your Ross Tucker Football Podcast hot off the presses. We will have a spread the word winner, a sponsor confirmation email winner, and a YouTube shout out winner tomorrow, probably, because I think I said Thursday night. While I did it at like midnight, that I had forgotten and I would do it for Monday. But since we're doing this after midnight, I forgot again. I think you guys know by now, I am a morning person. I am not a night person. This is unnatural for me. I'm giving you everything I got because that's our schedule, because Bry has to fly back from Denver. So I'll try to get tomorrow during the day. I'll try to pick out some winners for you guys. You know the contest at Ross Tucker NFL, at Ross Tucker Pod, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. And of course, taking advantage of any of our sponsors. And I should mention, we've got a new patron, patreon.com/RT Media in Nate Carter. Welcome to the family, Nate. And I will be doing an email newsletter soon. It's been months, but I've got something I want to tell you guys. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
All right, Ross, what are your overall themes for week 6 in the NFL?
Well, first of all, I was home. The Eagles did not have a game today, so I'm watching all the red zone, and there were so many blowouts in the 1 p.m. slate. The only game that became interesting, and we'll get into it, was the Panthers' valiant comeback at the end of that Vikings-Panthers game, and then Kirk Cousins came down and got it done again, like he typically does. Or was that in overtime that Cousins did that? Yeah, I think there was Panthers-Vikings was OT, Patriots-Cowboys was OT, and this Steelers-Seahawks game that just ended was OT. So we had an OT game at all 3 time slots, but that was the only 1 p.m. game that was even within 1 score. All the other ones were double-digit 2-score games. So that's one of my themes, was the blowouts in the 1 p.m. games. And then pause or comma, the overtime thrillers. We had 3 overtime thrillers at each time slot, which is pretty amazing. Then the Jacksonville Jaguars got their first win. We'll get to that momentarily, but that's a theme. That was a thriller game as well. We had thrillers at all 4 time slots. Was that? No, that was almost OT. Urban Meyer did a nice thing and avoided OT. We'll get to that, but they got their first win. The Arizona Cardinals made a statement in a major way, if you ask me, going to Cleveland without their head coach and dominating. Plus, I thought they made a statement on Friday when they traded for Zach Ertz from the Eagles. They gave up Tay Gowan and a 5th-round pick to get Zach Ertz. Thought that was another sign from the Cardinals. They are all in this year, and I love it. It's working, obviously. The last theme I would say, Brian, Deshaun Watson's trade value went up. Now, listen, I know I personally don't believe any team is going to trade for him until there's some resolution to what's going on with his legal situation. But we know the Miami Dolphins have had interest. We know the Carolina Panthers have had interest. Not a great day for Tua. He was fine, but not a great day, and they lost. Not a great day for Sam Darnold. His receivers dropped the ball a lot, but he wasn't great. David Tepper, Stephen Ross, those are the type of men that get what they want. I believe they're the two richest owners in the NFL. That helps the Houston Texans and their ability to get more for a Deshaun Watson trade. So those were my big takeaways. My other big takeaway is that there are all these gimmicks out there promising a great night's sleep. I mean, heavy blankets, terrible mattress. Look, it's all about purple mattresses. It's all about the Gel Flex Grid. Have you guys ever even felt the Gel Flex Grid? It's super stretchy, ultra squishy material that adapts and flexes around pressure points and doesn't retain heat. Unlike memory foam, which remembers everything, the Gel Flex Grid, purple mattresses bounce back as you move and shift. You'll never feel like you're stuck in the memory foam. Getting a great night's sleep starts with having a great mattress. Get a purple mattress. Go to purple.com/Ross10 and use code Ross10. For a limited time, you can get 10% off any order of $200 or more. That's purple.com/Ross10, code Ross10 for 10% off any order of $200 or more. Purple.com/Ross10, promo code Ross10, terms apply.
Tuck's Takes.
All right, let's start in London, where Urban Meyer and the Jags got their first win, 23-20 over the Dolphins.
Right. So the Dolphins, by the way, it looked awesome at Tottenham. All the stadium looks awesome. All of the international folks there, UK, the jerseys, the different team jerseys. I love it. The Dolphins had neither one of their starting corners or Devontae Parker. The Jags were without their right guard, their center, Miles Jack. Tua was nice on the first drive. It went 8 for 10, was in rhythm, converting third downs on the first drive, but really sporadic after that. Had a terrible interception. The Jags were kind of up and down as well. They were down by, and then they come back, take the lead, and they let the Dolphins come back. It was a roller coaster game. Then that crazy end of game sequence. The Jags get the ball. I forget how they got it. They went backwards on 2 plays, maybe 3 plays. Then they get the ball. They get like 8 yards or whatever. Then the Dolphins call a timeout, and the Jags say, you know what? We can get a timeout and just do a quick out route. They did it, made the kick. Mr. Wright made the kick twice down the stretch after the Jags had not had any field goals before the game.
Tuck's Takes.
Patrick Mahomes bounced back after 2 interceptions to beat the Washington football team 31-13.
Right. So Sean Taylor had his jersey retired, the late Sean Taylor, at some point during the game. Tyreek Hill let another pass go through his hands for another red zone interception. It's unbelievable. The Chiefs are like a turnover machine. McCole Hardman fumbled. Then they drop a coverage that led to a Ricky Seals-Jones touchdown. I tweeted at Ross Tucker NFL that the Chiefs were broken. I think as soon as I said that, well, that's not true. Because then Mahomes threw the most ridiculous 3rd and 1 interception I've ever seen. Just threw the ball up for grabs. But then the Chiefs finally started to look like the Chiefs again in the second half, and they pulled away from a really bad Washington football team. I mean, they're bad.
Tuck's Takes.
Speaking of the bad, how about the Giants? Matthew Stafford threw 4 TD passes against New York Rams, 38-11.
Oh, my goodness, Bry. Well, in fairness, the Giants didn't have Kenny Golladay, didn't have Saquon Barkley. Kadarius Toney aggravated the ankle injury early. So they were down like all their guys. And as a result, Daniel Turnover. There's Danny Dimes, and then there's Daniel Turnover. Daniel Turnover was back. The Rams scored 28 points in the second quarter. Taylor Rapp had a really good day. Stafford had a really good day. And the Rams rolled.
Tuck's Takes.
Colts scored 21 in the second half to beat up on the Texans 31-3.
Right. Paris Campbell caught a bomb for a touchdown, the first touchdown for the Colts, and then he got hurt. It was a big Jonathan Taylor day, including an 85-yard run. And the Texans are like every others. Every other game, the Texans are actually competitive and have a chance to win the game. Then the game after that, they're terrible.
Tuck's Takes.
3 touchdowns for Joe Burrow, and the Bengals keep the Lions winless. Final in this one, 34-11.
Boy, I really thought the Bengals were due for a letdown. They're a mature football team. They're much better coached. They've got studs. I mean, 3 receiving studs, a running back stud, a tight end stud, and a quarterback stud. Jamar Chase is an incredible deep threat. Trey Hendrickson had an awesome day for them, rushing the passer. And Jared Goff was generally pretty terrible. Anytime you throw the ball away on a 4th down, I'm kind of done with you.
Tuck's Takes.
Packers beat the Bears for the 20th time in 23 games. The final in this one, 24-14.
Right. So Damian Williams was put on the COVID list, which wasn't good, but Khalil Herbert actually had a pretty good day for the Bears as the Bears' offensive line is getting better. It felt like Fields had some time to throw a few times. He still took a couple vicious shots. He always does. But the Bears' O-line's getting better, which is a good sign. Herbert did pretty well. Khalil Herbert, that is. But on the other side, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon had nice days. The Bears' pass defense is pretty decent, but they let the running backs have a good day on them. And everybody's talking about the Aaron Rodgers, I own you, which I think is funny. I like when guys play to the fans like that, especially if the fans are flipping them the bird, as Rodgers said they did.
Tuck's Takes.
Baltimore Ravens win their 5th straight, 34-6 over the Chargers.
Did not expect this one either. I mean, I didn't really expect any of these blowouts. I was surprised these games are blowouts. Brandon Staley was aggressive again on 4th down, again in his own territory. This time it backfired. 4th and 1, Justin Herbert was off. Really, the Herbert and the Chargers wide receivers, they were all off all day. I mean, they just were not in sync. Certainly give the Ravens defense some credit. And certainly give the Ravens 2016 Pro Bowl running backs some credit. Unbelievable. Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray. I think these guys are loving playing with Lamar Jackson and playing in that offense because they get some pretty big holes to run through. By the way, speaking of holes, you don't want to be that person that has holes in your car care and you suffer for it. You guys know the weather this time of year, it can change on a dime. I was driving back from Hartford on Saturday. Fine. I get to New Jersey, pouring like a monsoon while I was going over the old Tappan Zee, which I think now maybe they call the Cuomo Bridge. I don't even know. Absolutely pouring. Make sure that you've got, number one, your windshield wipers are ready to go. Make sure you have replacement wipers to clear your windshield during bad weather. Make sure your washer fluid's topped off. Make sure your headlights aren't dull. All these things matter. All of these things are important. Stay safe this fall during Fall Car Care Month. Visit your nearest AutoZone or head to AutoZone.com to start your job today. There's nothing worse than having bad windshield wipers or running out of windshield wiper fluid. Trust me. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Tuck's Takes.
In overtime, Kirk Cousins to KJ Osborne. That lifted the Vikings to a 34-28 victory in Carolina.
Absolutely cracked me up how KJ Osborne just chucked the helmet after he scored. I guess that was a tribute to Stephon Diggs from the playoff game against the Saints back in the day. You know, the Panthers put Christian McCaffrey on IR, so he's not coming back for at least 3 games now. He clearly had a major setback trying to get back too soon from the hamstring, which is what I thought they were trying to avoid in the first place. Might end up ruining their whole season. Darnold was pretty terrible, but the Panthers wide receivers, what is going on? I mean, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, they're all dropping passes. Carolina, Frankie Louvu gave him a shot by blocking that punt for a touchdown from Kenny Robinson. Crazy comeback by the Panthers. I mean, give Darnold some credit. Didn't have a great day, but convert a bunch of 4th downs and a 2-point conversion late to tie it, including, you know, he made some awesome throws in a couple of those 4th downs. So I feel like Darnold did his part at the end, but it was a big day for Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, and the entire Vikings offense. I don't know what's gotten into Carolina's defense, but the Vikings offense is a machine. They ran all over them.
Tuck's Takes.
Speaking of a machine, the Arizona Cardinals are a machine. They improved to 6-0 by beating the Cleveland Browns 37-14.
Unbelievably impressed by the Cardinals. Did not think they would win this game. The Bills are going to have to play very well Monday night to stay number 1 in my power rankings. The Cardinals had all kinds of COVID issues, a new center, no head coach in Kingsbury. Although on the flip side, the Browns have no Jarvis Landry, their best receiver, no Nick Chubb, their best running back, and they're without their top 3 offensive tackles, Wills, Conklin, and Hubbard, and it showed. I mean, the Cardinals took advantage of it. They were blocking the wrong guy. Malik Golden's coming around, Marcus Golden's coming around untouched. Watt beating these guys. Baker had a terrible first half. An awful interception, a bad fumble. He got smashed so bad he dislocated his shoulder again. Then they did they popped it back in, put the harness thing on. I fear that this season might get away from the Browns from an injury standpoint. You know, Kareem Hunt suffered what looked like a bad injury. The only real positive for the Browns in this game was Donovan Peoples-Jones. Trucked the dude for a touchdown. I think it was Robert Alford. And then he caught the Hail Mary touchdown. People don't know how to defend Hail Marys anymore. It's hilarious. Unless you're the team that they scored the Hail Mary again. Kyler Murray, the Cardinals are a complete team. I mean, James Conner ran well. My boy Chase Edmonds from Harrisburg ran well. And Kyler Murray, 20 of 30, 229 yards, 4 touchdowns, 129 passer rating, 8 for 10 on 3rd down the Cardinals were. Unbelievable.
Tuck's Takes.
Derek Carr, 7 completions of 25 yards or more. The Raiders over the Denver Broncos, 34-24.
You know, Bri, I've never been to that stadium as a broadcaster. I've only been to that stadium as a player a couple times, in fact. My rookie year and then in a playoff game for the Patriots, the only playoff game I ever played in. How was the food?
Food is solid, as it always is. Let me pull up the menu real quick. So we start off with the main buffet with a classic steakhouse Caesar with romaine lettuce, shaved Parmesan, garlic croutons, and bacon, which was
nice.
Mighty good. Then for the main course, we had Italian meatballs over rigatoni pasta with more shaved Parmesan. Also, some chicken breast with Tuscan kale, sweet potato puree, and brioche. They did have a butternut squash and apple soup, but somehow I missed that one. And then at halftime, your hot dogs, your brats, and big, nice, soft pretzels, which were really good. So overall, a solid A.
Wow. That sounds delicious. I will say this about UConn, Bri. UConn, I've done 2 games there. I got 1 more to go Thanksgiving weekend. They always have breakfast sandwiches for these noon games, which are nice because I can get there 9:30, 2.5 hours before the game, and take down 2 sausage, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwiches. I take the top bun off. Don't need it. Don't need that bread because all I need is the egg, the sausage, and the cheese, and a little bit of bread, just a little bit of bread. Then for lunch this time, last time they had like Famous Barbecue from around there, which was good. This time they had Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches, and they had all the sauces, So I partaked in Chick-fil-A sauce. So right before the game, like at 11:30. No, I take that back. At 11:30, I had 1 sandwich. At halftime, I had the second sandwich. And then on the drive home, I had the 3rd sandwich. And I even brought the honey mustard packet in my computer bag so I could dip the sandwich in the honey mustard on the drive home while it was pouring. But my windshield wipers were good because of AutoZone. Speaking of AutoZone, the Raiders, the game you're at, Bri, they had the In the Zone AutoZone Performance of the Week, Player of the Week. It was Max Crosby. I mean, it could have been Derek Carr. Derek Carr had an awesome day as well, lobbing the ball up to Brian Edwards, Darren Waller, Ruggs. But it goes to Max Crosby. 3 sacks. The DN, number 98, 3 sacks from Eastern Michigan, 5 quarterback hits, 10 pressures, a pass defensed, a tackle for loss. I mean, he was a big reason why Teddy Bridgewater had such a bad day. Unbelievable. Max Crosby, you were in the zone, presented by AutoZone. Good for you. Good for the whole Raiders team. After everything that went bad, everything happened last week, good job by them. Kenyon Drake had a big game. Teddy Bridgewater, that was brutal. And Vic Fangio, he's just out here challenging anything. Just challenging whatever. No rhyme or reason.
Tuck's Takes.
Dallas Cowboys won their first game at New England since 1987. In overtime, the final, 35-29.
Actually, you know what it was? Those were desperation challenges by Fangio. That was like, this is my only prayer at this point is to throw the challenge flag. That's what they were. Cowboys-Patriots game was awesome. Just awesome. Crazy goal line sequence. Back-to-back quarterback sneaks for the Cowboys, no points. I thought Dak got in on the third one on 3rd down. 4th down, unbelievable job by Juwan Bentley to punch it out. Randy Gregory was an absolute monster the whole game. He had one of the hardest hits of a quarterback I've seen in a long time. I thought he killed Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a tough kid. All the action happened late. You know, the Patriots are going to seal this thing, and the only thing they couldn't do, they do. Mac Jones throws a pick 6, throws it off Bourne's hands. Trayvon Diggs, pick 6, unbelievable. But then the very next play, the first play, Mac Jones hits Bourne for a bomb as Diggs got beat on a double move. And DeMonte KZ, what are you doing, dude? What was that? Ultimately, though, CeeDee Lamb had a big day. Dak had the most yards passing against Belichick ever. And it was Dak to CeeDee Lamb for the game-winning touchdown. Dak evidently tweaked his calf on the play, but that was an awesome football game.
Tuck's Takes.
And Sunday Night Football, let's finish it up with that. TJ Watt had his 20th forced fumble. This one in overtime sets up a Chris Boswell 37-yard field goal. Steelers over the Seahawks 23-20.
Right. So the Steelers dominated the first half. I mean, they were riding Najee Harris Freiermuth. It's 14-0 at halftime. Then the Seahawks came out and pretty much ran the ball down the Steelers' throat in the second half. Alex Collins, I think he had like 10 carries on the drive to make it 14-7. Steelers answered with a field goal, but then the Seahawks, after the first drive, touchdown drive, which was all play action pass, which was all run, then it was all play action pass. They scored touchdown, 17-14. I got to tell you, Devin Bush, he is terrible for the Steelers. Terrible. Overrunning plays, getting blocked. I mean, I am shocked how bad he is. I watched him a lot tonight. Big Ben had a critical fumble, helped the Seahawks tie it up. He's trying to pull the ball back in. But then TJ Watt ends the first drive for the Seahawks with a sack, ends the second drive with a punch-out fumble. The dude is worth every penny. He's the highest-paid defensive player in the NFL, and he's worth it. He is the primary reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers won that football game. Absolutely unbelievable. You got a guy that is a difference-making player like that. The difference between wins and losses, you pay them. Speaking of paying, we love the I Think We're Done Here members of patreon.com/RT Media that get shout-outs every day. Pizza Boy Brewing, Sporticulture, Vision Comics with an X, HumanHeadNYC.com, SteakhouseSports.com. Because of Bry's travel schedule, college draft, even money, power rankings will all be Tuesday. So certainly get excited for 3 new shows on Tuesday. Other than that, hope you guys, especially the international folks, hope everybody enjoys that this is posted bright and early or nice and late, depending on your perspective. I think we're done here.
Thanks for listening to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Fantasy Feast, Even Money, Business of Sports, and College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.
A lot of times on the show, I mentioned DraftKings. Here's what you need to know. You got to be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT. By the way, if what I was talking about included a deposit bonus, doesn't always, sometimes it does. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough, and deposit bonuses are paid out in site credit.